Field led by Gavin Sanders and Caleb Bensey. Coming to the green flag. The field heads towards turn number 1. Wow, nearly a shot there from Barry to Sanders. Most of the field getting through cleanly here. Oh, problems for Matt Johnson and TJ Crampton. They made some contact. Sanders getting away cleanly. Oh! Matt Houston around. We'll get it back going. I think Roland Holt got a piece of that as well. We'll have to go take a look at that if we can. If we find the window. Barry trying to hang on to third. TJ Crampton behind him. Cameron Faulkner right in the mix here as well. Rounding out your top 5. It's Caleb Bensey, half a second behind the race leader, trying to pick up a slipstream here as we head to the bus stop. Oh, problems for Peter Donchak. He goes around out of the transition as the rest of the field goes through the bus stop. And Gray edges ahead to step 4th. Breaking hard here for the bus stop. Don't make any mistakes. Oh boy, not a whole lot of room to contend with here. These two always do a good job. Proper space. And Gray trying to do his best. Throw some dirty air on this 57 as they barrel out of turn number 4 towards the triover. These two using every single inch of the track, and now Sanders is loose. Here's Bensey to the inside. Bensey with a great drive out of the bus stop. And Gavin Sanders' lead is under threat for the first time tonight. Who is going to give into turn 1? Bensey sails it through. Keeps it right on his preferred line. New leader, Caleb Bensey with authority. What a move for the transition out of the bus stop. Really the 3 toughest places coming up through the gears. Bensey locks it up, sends it wide, keeps it out of the grass, but Sanders is right back on it. Bensey going to be able to keep the positioning here into the left-hander to the transition. What a show. Bensey and Sanders both loose. Side by side into over 1. Usually when we get to these road courses, it's a runaway for the lead and the battling is great through the pack, but that is the opposite of what we had tonight. Hardly been able to look away from this battle for the lead. It's been so good. Comes out on top. These two are absolutely incredible. These are both open wheel transplants that just decided to try running the trucks for fun, and they are up here mopping up and having a legendary battle. lead back over with 4 to go. Oh, Sanders wide. Here's Bensy back to the inside with 2 to go. Oh! Bensy's crowd and they make contact. A game of inches here with 2 to go. And a bump from Sanders. Bensy locks it up. Sanders to the inside. But we'll be on the right side here for the left-hander. Bensy sends it in deep. Sanders with a bump and a crossover. Caleb Bensy trying to steal a draft off the 5 of Jeff Oakes. The bus stop for the final time. Bensy up high. Sanders did not get a great exit. Caleb Bensy, what a drive. It's win number 2 on the season. Caleb Bensy, a fantastic race here tonight at Daytona Road Course. And the points leader has made it all that much bigger.
A blind night that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
Presentation. 2 weeks of fun in the sun for the drivers of Truck 200 may have sounded relaxing, but I guarantee you most of them are still feeling pretty stressed after the last 2 races at Daytona. So we've moved them westward to the much maligned Texas Motor Speedway, where there's a good chance they will still be feeling the pressure well into tonight's 200-mile event. Round number 5 falls on this most infamous date in American history, and we pay tribute to those who have lost their lives on this day 22 years ago with the Freedom Forever 200 at Texas Motor Speedway. Howdy, folks. It's Tommy Cook. It's the GOAT, the busy as hell, but still here, Matt Williamson. You are as ever in demand as you've ever been. And so we appreciate you making the show here tonight. Welcome back to Texas. We were here just a few weeks ago and put on a pretty good show with the Venom Trucks. They say everything's bigger in Texas. Can we go bigger than that?
Well, I know that in real life, I think some people are jaded to Texas, but here in the sim, it is one of the best tracks, especially for the trucks. So don't let the real life version fool you. We are in for some tomfoolery here tonight.
Absolutely. Tomfoolery is always here on the channel. Real quick, as we're just about ready to get into the race session here in about a minute, let's take a quick look at the points. It shouldn't be any surprise to anybody who's watched even a couple of the races this season. Who was on top here tonight?
No, not in the slightest. If you've been watching, you know that Caleb Bency has not finished off of the podium yet this season. He leads the points by nearly a full race over TJ Crampton, who is 171 points behind. I do believe TJ did miss one race, so that's part of that as well. And then Hunter Engrave is 322 points back. So Caleb Bency with a large margin ahead of everybody else right now.
Absolutely. We appreciate everybody coming to hang out with us here tonight. Things are have been busy of late. They are going to get busier. Wednesday night, of course, tomorrow night is the championship race of the Venom Truck Series at Charlotte. Wednesday night, the Daredevil Series All-Star Race. Thursday night, Maximum Velocity, their halfway point in the season. And then Sunday, our first ever official race, Strength of Field for the Porsche Mission R Challenge. So a lot of exciting things coming up here on Turn 200. And this week kicks off here tonight with the Freedom Forever 200 at Texas Motor Speedway. And we mentioned the points leader, Caleb Bency. Well, guess what? He has just taken the pole. I believe that is his first oval pole, leading the field to green here at Texas. Driver up there in the points, Roland Holt, will start to his outside on the front row. Row number 2, then, is Steve Broman, the Venom Truck Series winner here at Texas. He starts in third. Mike Berry lines up to his outside. Tyler Pluff is back in the field tonight. He rolls off in fifth. How about Matt Schlosser? He has yet to finish outside of the top 10 in his Truck 200 career. Starts in the 6th position. TJ Crampton needing a good night here tonight to reel back in the points leader. He starts in 7th. Paul Ellison then will line up to his outside in 8th. Gavin Sanders put on quite the show with Caleb Bency last week. Finished 2nd, starts 9th here tonight. How about Ryan Dye? Quietly putting together a pretty solid season here in Truck 200. He rounds out your top 10 starters tonight. Jeff Oakes and Dakota DeMay then on row number 6. JJ Wang and Brantley Gainey line up on row 7 behind them. Hunter Engrave and Matt Johnson back in the field here tonight. He rolls off 16th. Kyle Zittel and Alan Phillips on row number 9. Cody Claiborne, Pascal Simard on row number 10. Row number 11, Dave Payton and Zachary Flaum, who is back after missing Daytona Road last week. Jeff Smith and Darryl Klotz, 23rd and 24th. Cameron Faulkner had problems on his qualifying lap, so he is the slowest of those who put up a time in 25th. Troy Thomas elects not to qualify, and Jeremy McKinnon is on the starting grid. I'm not kidding you. He connected about 15 seconds ago, so I'm not sure if he's actually going to make it here for the start, but we're going to find out as these trucks are all lining up here on pit road. Some interesting track conditions, here at Texas Motor Speedway tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it as we're looking at different shots of our drivers and the track here. Very foggy, very overcast, not a cloud in sight, or excuse me, not a ray of sunshine in sight, many clouds. But the track temperature is still 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which for what we're looking at right now is pretty warm actually. But so if that sun does decide to come out, it's only going to get a little bit hotter for our drivers here tonight, which could prove to be a little tricky here around Texas, but we'll have to see. Expect the restarts to be absolutely bonkers here, but as we get into this, we're going to have 133 laps here tonight, 100% fuel capacity, which is probably about 45 laps. So looking at a 2-stopper here tonight. 0 fast repairs and 3 extra sets of tires, as always here in Truck 200.
And the camera does play a little bit of tricks here. I think it looks a little more overcast outside of the truck than it is at ground level. But still, you say not one cloud in the sky. The sky just kind of looks like one big cloud at this point. So, 1 plus.
Big time coverage there.
Hard to believe next week is going to be the halfway point of the season already. Tonight is round number 5. Next week, 200 kilometers at North Wilkesboro for the halfway point of the season, 199 laps. So that is going to be a test of survival, just like this race might be here.
Yeah, I mean, when we're on these starts and restarts, the corners, you can get pretty wide here in the trucks, especially down there in turn 1 and 2. So look for the drivers to fan out, try to find some real estate and make some early passes, but if they push too hard, they might find themselves in the fence.
Nobody wants to find themselves in the fence here as we are underway. Benzie and Holt with a getaway. Vroman trying to squeeze the 28 of Mike Berry as Schlosser and Pluff battle for a spot in the top 5 behind him. Schlosser way up the track. Crampton pushes Pluff through, and Crampton going to get clear now as well.
Yeah, we saw Gavin Sanders. He was in that top 2 position last week at Daytona Road. A heck of a battle with your current leader and points leader, Caleb Benzie, last week on the road course. And he's looking pretty decent here on the ovals as well.
Jeremy McKinnon, I believe, started from the pits. He's working through the tri-oval right now.
Crampton working on the 400 of Schlosser. Schlosser running that high line. Crampton looking to cover the bottom.
Oh, and Ellison and Sanders nearly get tangled together there into turn 1 just behind that battle. Ellison working his way underneath the 10. But Gavin will have a run here on TJ Crampton. Turn 1 is so tricky, but turns 3 and 4 are pretty much flat out any line that you can get. At least at this point in the run.
Yeah, exactly. For right now, I mean, the bottom is going to get a little trickier a little bit later on in the runs. But yes, you're right. For right now, it is pretty much wide open through turns 3 and 4 here in the trucks, as Steve Roman has pulled right up to the back of Roland Holt here.
Trying to make ground early here, Steve Roman.
Steve Roman, he arcs the corner a little bit more. He enters turns 1 and 2 more in the middle, and then kind of aims down towards the bottom of the track there on exit.
Speaking of arcing, that's a big arc there for the 50 of Holt. And it holds Steve Roman at bay, but don't look now. They've got the next 3 drivers in line pushing right up to him. Berry, Pluff, and Schlosser all right here, closing in on the 00. Oh, we got trouble. Hunter Engrave is involved. Matt Johnson, Alan Phillips all go for a spin in turn number 1, and the caution is out.
Now you see Matt Johnson, the 404, real slow here. Like Johnston's going to be able to get some positions back. He's moving forward as we'll rack up a replay. Come into this, it'll probably be after the accident. Have to back it up. No problem. You see Johnston there on the wall already. How about a better camera angle for the folks at home, too? You mentioned Engrave was involved in this as well. Engrave is right here in the 56, below the 404 of Johnston. Running through the quad oval as they work their way down here into turns 1 and 2. Johnston kind of crowds Engrave through the quad oval. Really doesn't give Engrave any room at all. Pushes Engrave down into the grass, and Engrave's not able to hang on to it. He gets loose and chases that truck up the racetrack right into the 404. We'll turn it around and give you one more look at it. Johnson is going to get piled into here. I think that is... Actually, I'm not sure who that is. I think it may have been Alan Phillips.
Alan Phillips, yep.
Black and white truck there. So Johnson gets pushed even further up into the fence. Let's rewind it one more time. We'll go ahead and go full speed here out of turn number 4.
Should mention as well, new grass dynamics. Changes things a little bit.
Yeah, you know, that's something that we really, on our channel anyways, really haven't seen that come into play much. So it's something kind of new to us and maybe the viewers of our channel as well.
They actually just got a tweak today in the patch update. But I'm not sure that would have changed the outcome of that crash, even with the old physics. That was a sudden movement there, down into Engrave and back up.
So mostly everybody does not elect to come down pit road here. Pretty interesting, actually. I would have assumed that we would have had a few more folks try to come down. The only takers we had were Engrave, McKinnon, Troy Thomas, Alan Phillips, and Matt Johnson, and 3 of those 5 were involved in that incident, probably trying to get damage fixed. So not many takers for tires here after running about 6 or 7 laps.
Well, it's lap number 9 right now. I was hoping to be green at this point in the race. When we come back to the line, we will take laps number 10 and 11 silent in honor of the 1,777 people who lost their lives on this day 22 years ago. May they not be forgotten. May their sacrifice not be in vain. Caleb Bensie leads lap number 11. Obviously, something happened there on that restart between Steve Vroman and Mike Berry. Vroman got turned into the pits. Of course, that is being forced down pit lane, so his black flag for that was cleared. But when we get a second, we might have to go back and take a look at it if we can. But for now, this is quite the swarm up front here.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, we saw the first start of the race, the initial start, was a little more spread out than this. I mean, these top 10 and everybody else really are pretty tight together here as Crampton looks underneath of Sanders, was not able to clear there through the quad oval. Crampton has Ellison behind him trying to push him through. Now Schlosser is going to look to the inside. It's not there.
How about Matt Schlosser up here in P3? Great run so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's had speed. Has just come up short. He's had a few pretty bad breaks here this season. But good to see him running up front here and clean so far as Sanders was trying to rail the outside here, but ran into Tyler Pluff. He had a huge run, but just had nowhere to go. Now Schlosser and Barry will try the low side. Schlosser will get around Roland Holt.
Schlosser up to second. Holt back to third, and this is a mess.
Yeah, big time. Holt lost the nose of that one there in turn 3 and had to chase it up the track a bit, so Schlosser's able to get through, but Pluff, Sanders, Kyle Zittle's right here on the top side of Crampton. Crampton's slid back a few positions in the last lap and a half or 2 laps.
This guy's trying to get it sorted out. Sanders a little bit wider here. Tyler Pluff almost underneath the 10. Slides back in the line. Crampton and Ellison and Ryan Dye working each other over here to try and stay in the top 10.
Schlosser tried diving down below the 29, but Bensey covers off that bottom lane.
Oh, big move there. A lunge from Kyle Zittle. Gets him past Pluff. Now sliding up the track, nearly into Gavin Sanders. Pluff will rally back on the outside.
Yeah, I think we'll see the outside line in turns 1 and 2 be pretty dominant here, at least for a little while.
Gavin Sanders clipped the apron, but managed to keep it on the low line of the track and hold position. That almost never happens.
Ellison, he enters high. He's going to swing low, pull a crossover here on Zittle to try to get underneath. Back there behind him, the same strategy used from Ryan Dye to get on the inside of TJ Crampton.
John Kay and Flinky Roberts hanging out in the chat. As here's Dye, clears Crampton. Jeff Oakes right behind the 57 now. Ellison and Zittle continue to battle side by side. Zittle clear as Holt and Barry backing up to Gavin Sanders here, losing the top 2. Matt Schlosser trying to chase down Caleb Bensey, for the race lead.
This is that front nose of Roland Holt. You mentioned he's fallen backwards a little bit here. Both falling backwards into Gavin Sanders a bit.
Hold a little bobble there. It's going to open the door for Barry out of 4 through the tri-oval to try and get something done here into 1.
Zittle
So
in the
Barry,
53 and
go
Dye
ahead.
go way high there through turns 1 and 2, trying to create a run. Pluff will get
man.
around Zittle. Zittle slots in behind. Barely.
Zittle going to fight back to the outside of the 39 through 3 and 4.
As these tires get older, that move around the outside is going to get a little hairy. You're going to get tied up against the wall there out of 4.
Should mention a couple of drivers that were not involved in that accident came down pit road under the caution, but it was Jeremy McKinnon and Troy Thomas who were both well outside of the top 20. As Pluff and Zittle door to door again. Oh, Zittle into the...
Wow,
Not sure how hard.
Didn't look like a real big hit, but he nearly came back down into the 39. These two are battling big time. Zittle all over the bumper of the 39 here.
Sanders underneath Holt now to try and move up to 4th. And Pluff going to go through that open door here as well. So Holt on the slide here after starting on the outside pole. He is back outside the top 5 and continuing to tumble. Oh, Zittel! Oh, man! Holt does an incredible job to hold on to that one. An apology from Zittel over the radio.
Yeah, it looked like Zittel thought he was going to have maybe a little bit more room down there on the bottom, but not much of a lane left.
Well, it's the same conundrum into Pocono Turn 1 as it is Texas Turn 1. In theory, you can run 5 different entry lanes, but the problem comes in when you've got somebody next to you and you don't know what they want to run. They might be in the lane you want to run, and you have to adjust for that on the fly. See it a lot at both places.
Yeah, and I mean, Zittel may have seen that truck, kind of running more in the middle lane, and he thought it was just going to be open, and it wasn't. It was a little tiny crack, but not as much as he was hoping.
No.
So Zittel's trying to regroup here. He's backed up all the way to the 55 of Ellison after making his way forward quite a few positions there. I mean, he is up a lot of positions still, but he was up even more positions. He's up 10 from his starting spot.
Caleb Benzie puts a little bit of distance between he and Matt Schlosser. Schlosser looks like is starting to struggle just a little bit here as Mike Berry now is all over this 400. We'll look underneath. Sanders and Pluff closing in here pretty quickly as well.
And I think Schlosser may be coming victim to a little bit the same as Kyle Zittel. I think the two of them pushed really hard here at the beginning of their run, showing a lot of speed, but now kind of losing the tires as the run progresses.
It's so easy to do, especially with this setup. I love this setup because it just sticks you in 3 and 4. Even at this point in the run when you're fading through 1 and 2, 3 and 4 is just so smooth, but it does have an effect. Sanders going to look underneath Schlosser.
Oh, big blink here.
Oh, yeah. Also to mention Steve Vroman, after the initial incident there on the restart, he has actually caught back up to the tail of the field and has passed a couple of trucks. So Vroman fighting back here.
Yeah, and earlier you mentioned Jeremy McKinnon was pretty far down in the field. Of course, you mentioned earlier that he registered very, very last minute.
Yes.
And wasn't able to qualify, so he's come quite literally from all the way at the back of the field to be in, I think he's in 15th right now. So he's up 12 spots since the start of the race.
I mean, that caution certainly helped him. He was 3/4 of a lap down when the caution came out. But, Jeremy McKinnon was fighting for the win here at Texas in the Venom Truck Series, so he's got the speed.
Still battling in the back half of the top 10 here. Crampton trying to take a spot away from Roland Holt. Zittel trying to stave off more of a slide here. He's got Dye and Jeff Oakes behind him. Dye is in the 10th position there in the 4 truck. Zittel's actually trying to mount a comeback and find his way around Paul Ellison in the 55. Just hasn't been able to quite figure it out.
Oh, J.J. Wang just outside of the top 10. Got in the grass there a little bit. But is okay. Actually, he and Dakota DeMade both got in the grass through the tri-oval that time.
Crampton was able to pull up alongside Roland Holt there in turns 1 and 2 and will now go through here in 3 and 4. So will Ellison on Roland Holt, and Zittel's going to have a run here as well. The outside of 3 and 4 is not treating Roland Holt very well here tonight.
Zittel with a much easier time getting around Roland Holt this time. So move Holt back to 9th. As Jeff Oakes and J.J. Wang battling side by side into 3. That is for spot number 11. Wang stuck on the outside there. Jeff Oakes got his best finish of the season last week at Daytona, finished 12th. But has had top 10 runs going this season, has just not been able to come away with the finish. So maybe tonight will be the night. Top four, make that really the top four have broken away here. Bensey, Berry, Sanders, and Pluff. Schlosser trying to hang on, but is fading in 5th. TJ Crampton up to 6th. Paul Ellison 7th. Kyle Zittel 8th. Roland Holt and Ryan Dye, your top 10.
We're continuing to watch this battle here between Jeff Oakes and J.J. Wang. Brantley Gainey's looked pretty quick, just really has nowhere to go right now behind these two. And now JJ is actually going to go around on the top side. We haven't seen that much here in the later stages of this first run.
Shout out to Cameron Faulkner as well. Qualified, I think, 25th and is already up to 14th. So pretty solid run for the 7 going already.
Yeah, and Cameron, of course, a newer driver here to Truck 200 and putting in a good first stint here at Texas.
And a good first stint because the majority of these drivers are staring down the barrel of their first pit stop here, I would imagine, within the next 5 to 10 laps.
Yeah, most definitely. I think I think they're going to try to push it a little bit later than we might think. We have 133 laps. If they did 40 lap stints, that would take them to lap 120. So we're probably going to be trying to make it to lap 44, 45, somewhere around there. I think they would probably be the most comfortable trying to make it to that number.
We saw pit stops in the Venom Truck Series with a similarly timed caution to what we saw tonight. Started lap number 39, so only 2 laps away from that. And Mike Berry all of a sudden has a big run on Caleb Bensey. Nowhere to go with it, though.
Ellison and Zittel continue to battle here for 7. They've been at it just about all night with each other up to this point.
Oh boy, we are 3 wide further back in the pack. And Claiborne and Klotz made contact working underneath of Pascal Samard, but they all keep it pointed the right direction.
Tell you what, Berry and Sanders have really hung on to Caleb Bensey here on the long run. Pretty impressive. Bensey, who, I mean, we've talked about how he comes from the open wheel background. Not a whole lot of experience here in the trucks, but he has a lot of experience managing tires. It's one of the best things he does. And for a few drivers here to be able to hang on and kind of keep pace with that, that's pretty good.
Yes, certainly his long run pace has been fantastic this season. As lap number 39, Dave Payton has just entered pit road from inside the top 20. I think he just got bopped for speeding, however.
Easy to do here.
Yes, it is. They say everything's bigger in Texas except for the pit road speed limit.
Yeah, I mean, you come on, turns 3 and 4 are just so high banked. You come off there with a ton of speed, and I just don't think you really realize how quickly that line comes to you. You got to back off a little bit earlier than you would think.
I mean, Chad Stearns, one of the best in the Venom Truck Series, got a speeding penalty here on pit road, so that should speak to how easy it is to do. And Cameron Faulkner has come over the radio saying he is pitting this time. Just outside of the top 10, driver number 7 is on pit road. But he is the only one.
leaders still maybe trying to work on a pass here over Barry. Looked like he wanted to get a run there to the inside. It just wasn't quite there.
Looks like the majority of the field doing what you have said here. Oh boy, that was close. And are pushing this as long as they can. I mean, we're right on the verge of a 3-stopper if you pit this short. Daryl Klotz and Alan Phillips, Mopa Motorsports teammates, pitting this time.
And especially on a run where you have a caution right in the middle of it, you want to make the most of it. Try to stretch that run probably as long as you can. Tires don't have as much life in them. You don't burn as much fuel there for a couple laps.
Drivers in the top 10 pitting Zittel, Ellison, and Dye.
Zittel pretty safe off of pit road, or off of the racing surface onto pit road here, it looks like.
Brantley Gainey in as well. I think Ellison and Dye got a little bit more than Zittel, but they all looked pretty safe, so no complaints there. Pascal Samar and Zachary Flaum all on pit road this time. Roland Holt says he'll be pitting this time. Jeffrey Oakes as well. Still awaiting the leaders. Yep, you're in my mind.
Leaders will stay out. Dave Payton on fresh tires is coming underneath there of Sanders. You can see, holy cow, just how much more speed you have with a fresh set.
I mean,
is about a 1.5 seconds here.
In these last few laps, Caleb Bency has put damn near a second on these two, and second and third. I mean, he is still gapping him. Mike Berry is pitting right now.
Yeah, I mean, just extreme fall off there right around lap 45, 46. So that's about the limit for these tires, it seems. I wouldn't be surprised to see Betsy come in here.
Not this time.
Also wouldn't be surprised to see him stay out.
Nothing surprises me anymore except for, well, just about everything, actually. It's like the top 15 still need to come to pit here.
Oh, Barry making it off the pit road. Wow, there's a big cluster here around 7th, 8th, and 9th. McKinnon, DeMade, and Engrave all here together.
Tyler Pluff pitting from third.
But we're definitely good on fuel based on these leaders staying out this long.
Yes, for one more stop.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's more of a tire strategy play here. When do you want to come in? You want to try to go long, overcut, and then maybe undercut the next time, or just at least have a shorter stint.
Gavin Sanders, JJ Wang on the pit road this time. Sanders absolutely sending it.
Yeah, but
or Sanders absolutely sanding it. I don't know. Whichever one tickles your fancy more.
I mean, it looked like a good stop. He got down to speed, even though he kind of hauled the mail in there.
If Bency wanted to pit that time, he was not able to because Dave Payton was going underneath him at pit entry. Bency going to take one more lap, and he's coming in now. Oh
wow.
Boy. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that looked pretty fast.
Nothing yet. If he got that, I'm impressed.
That's a gift. I mean,
that's having your cake and eating it too. You're either going to crash there or get a speeding penalty, and he didn't get either. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Anybody else, that is big trouble. So, TJ Crampton, Jeremy McKinnon, Dakota DeMade, Hunter Engrave, Cody Claiborne, Steve Roman, Troy Thomas, Jeff Smith, and Matt Johnson. Top 10 all need to come to pit road. Here is Crampton. Here, Jeff Smith coming this time as well.
Really, really close quarters here.
That is an absolute mess.
DeMade has not come in for tires yet. He's being passed by a lot of people that have, but also has people that have come in about 10 laps to go around him. I mean, just absolute mayhem.
It's traffic into St. Louis if I've ever seen it.
Sanders was right there on absolutely freshies, trying to make his way through. He was the fastest of the bunch, and just cars with very varying strategies littered all over the place.
How about Jeremy McKinnon leading the way here?
Yep, he's going to have to come down. He was one of those folks that came to pit on lap 7. So he's going to probably stretch it a little bit longer here. Maybe try to make it to lap 60 or so, and then maybe make it to pit road. But he could come in any time. I mean, this is still a pretty long stint here.
DeMade, Claiborne, and Vroman all on pit road this time. I think when Vroman hits pit road, it's probably the sign to bring it down.
I think 50 laps or more on a set of tires is pushing it pretty good. Which
is it pushing it real good?
We saw Bensi do that. McKinnon on the verge of doing that. As well as Engrave Thomas and Matt Johnson, who all came in on lap 7 as well. Those are the leaders currently. Now, Caleb Bensi, after those 4 come into pit, he has been leapfrogged by 17 drivers here, staying out that long.
Well, here's the thing is Gavin Sanders is in 8th, so I wonder if he did get a penalty and it didn't show us. Is this showing him 25th a lap down, and Gavin Sanders is in 8th?
Yes, I mean, I think Sanders only came in maybe 2 laps in front of Bensi, so you could be right.
Well, I guess I should see how far apart they are from one another.
The gap from Sanders back to Bensi is only 14 seconds, so I don't think so.
That's a lot for 2 laps, 14 seconds. Something else must have happened.
Could have been part of the problem with trying to come to pit road the lap before he actually got down pit road. He may have slowed down to try to do it and then wasn't able to. As Kyle Zittel all over Sanders here. Zittel kind of sends it into turn 1 a little bit too hard. He drifts up the racetrack. Now has Pluff underneath.
There's somebody slowing down. It's Matt Johnson coming to pit road. So Troy Thomas and Jeremy McKinnon, who again, they did pit under that caution. So that's, I'm sure you already mentioned that, but it's
yeah, that's a 50-lap stint there for those folks that came in on lap 7. Well, 2 of them haven't come in yet, so it's going to be longer, but probably not by much.
Can't imagine. Jeremy McKinnon, he is slowing down. Oh, no, he's actually getting past. Never mind. He was coming out of turn 2, but he's getting passed by Caleb Bensi. So Bensi will be back on the lead lap. Troy Thomas has just pit from 2nd.
And after McKinnon comes in, your leader will be Mike Berry, who came in pretty early, the earliest of the leader of the top 5 for sure.
Yes.
Berry came in on lap 46, so he's had a little bit of time to put a gap on these other drivers. Sanders, who came in 3 laps later, is about a second and a half behind Berry. And he also has Tyler Pluff right on his tail, so these 2 are kind of pushing each other a bit here.
McKinnon will be pitting this time. So Mike Berry will inherit the lead from Jeremy McKinnon. And Jeremy McKinnon's speeding. Gosh, dang it.
Man.
Does not feel good. New leader 28, Gavin Sanders, Tyler Pluff, Kyle Zittel, and now Cameron Faulkner, your top 5. Talk about a big leapfrog. Faulkner pit very early from 13th and is now up into the top 5. We saw the strategy work for Andy Poliski. I can't... Was it here? It might have been here. I think it was here, now that I think about it. No, it was Homestead. That's where it was. Pit really short. Make them last a long time and get big gains on the score sheet. So Faulkner going to have to go into tire conservation mode here. But it could be a big gain here for the 7.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the numbers, Faulkner's not really that far off when he came to pit from splitting this race in the thirds. I mean, he's going to have to go maybe 3 laps, maybe 4 laps more on both of these next 2 runs, or I guess this run and then the next run. But I mean, that's not a crazy number, so it could end up working out here, just playing them even. Everybody else seemed to have gone long on this one, and then are going to try to make the next 2 shorter.
I think Jeremy McKinnon might be calling it a night. He just towed back to the pits after coming to a stop down on the apron. I don't think anything led to it.
Pluff have caught up to Barry in a hurry here in just the last 2 laps.
Yeah, Jeremy McKinnon is disconnected. I appreciate him coming out, though. He showed his stuff. He worked his way all the way from last to first. We all know he was there.
Something to note here, Caleb Bensey really has not put a whole lot of time on these front 3. We mentioned that he was 14 and a half seconds behind Sanders when he cycled around. It's now 13 and a half, so he's only gained a second on Sanders, who was looking to make a move here on Mike Berry.
Sanders looking to regain the lead for the first time since the white flag lap at Daytona Road Course last week. And he is clear. So, yes, we saw the pit entry for Caleb Bensey, the race leader, who, again, had put time on the top 3 before the pit stops pretty rapidly. Had a bit of a wonky entry, but it did not show us that he got a black flag, and now all of a sudden he is 13 seconds behind the pack here. So he pit 2 laps later than these guys, but 2 laps isn't going to be 13 seconds at any track. So something else happened, and we have missed it.
Yeah, and actually, now looking at pit times, I actually forgot I had access to it.
Yes.
I'm glad we're talking about it again.
The tool belt.
Yeah, looking at pit times here, pit time for Caleb Bensey was 30.05 seconds. Pit stops for everybody else was either 14 or 15 seconds, other than Dave Payton, who got a penalty. So, yeah, definitely something happened there for Bensey. I don't know, maybe he overshot his pit box, or, well, he's the first pit stall, so, right? No.
Yes, yeah, he is.
So, yeah, I don't know. Something funky happened there for sure, but there's definitely no penalty that's only 15 seconds, so it had to have been something else.
Well, hopefully Bensey can work his way somehow back up to the podium so we could ask him what happened. He is yet to finish off the podium this season. I'm sure TJ Crampton right now in 7th is salivating at the prospect of putting points back on Caleb Benzie here tonight.
Oh, boy. Roland Holt.
This is still a mess here.
Yeah, well, Holt is on a little bit older tire here. He came in a pit on lap 45. He's actually getting passed by, I think that was Jeff Smith, who is a lap down, maybe 2 laps down. Jeff Smith on fresher tire here, so easily was able to get around Holt. And Holt tried to make an aggressive move down to try to cover up the bottom, but it was too late. Crampton was already there, and there was almost a collision.
Yep, Smith was one of the last holdouts. So maybe on a little bit fresher tire here as they are going to work behind him. Faulkner under fire now from Holt. That is for spot number 6. Matt Schlosser in the mix here. Colin Ellison, Brantley Gainey not too far behind. So 6th through 10th, all right here. And Crampton driving away from it all.
John is in the chat. He is cheering on JJ Wang. JJ was well inside the top 10, I think, for a little bit.
Yes.
Not sure what happened with his pit stop. I know he stayed out a little bit longer than some of the other drivers, so maybe just got leapfrogged there in the shuffle and sitting 18th right now.
Just got passed by Steve Roman. Caleb Benzie went through a few laps ago as well. Benzie back up to 15th. Closing in on the leaders slowly but surely. It was 16 seconds when Mike Berry took the lead back over. It's now down to 12 and a half. But that's still a lot of ground to cover here on lap 73 of 133.
Oh, wow, man. This is like a diamond formation fighter pilot squadron here. Schlosser, Ellison, Holt, Brantley Gainey's back up here as well. Jeff Oakes is right there behind Gainey as also. Man, these guys have all been together all night. And Gainey has gotten the worst of it. He has been behind 2 drivers covering both lanes, it seems like, for the last 74 laps.
Gavin Sanders leading by over a second now, as Barry and Pluff are in close proximity.
Few good battles on the track. Schlosser is up there getting around Faulkner as well. He goes around Faulkner on the bottom. And Ellison, Gainey was able to push Ellison past Holt, and now Gainey will do the same. Jeff Oakes trying to take advantage of this situation as well.
Boy, Ellison and Gainey nearly got tangled together there. Gainey had to roll out of it big time, gives up a spot to Roland Holt. I mean, we were inches from catastrophe there.
All the while, Caleb Benzie continues to march forward up to 13th now.
Gets past Darrell Klotz.
Little bit of open track to work with, but it's not going to be too long, and he's going to catch this big group that we were just watching. And that will not be fun.
No. It's going to be stressful, I'm sure.
Well, it might be fun for him. He likes the challenge, but it wouldn't be fun for me. We'll just put it that way.
No, I would be stressing a lot. A lot. Barry's put some distance on Pluff, I think with the help of Troy Thomas, who is in the middle of this battle. 1.2 seconds to the leader. Up from Mike Berry to Gavin Sanders.
Sanders has kind of gotten away from the group here a little bit. A second and a half back to Barry. Then Pluff not far behind Barry there. Pluff is actually, he has Troy Thomas in between him and Barry.
Ellison underneath of Faulkner, trying to get to 7th.
Drew White telling us to crank it up. We were on the old static cameras there for a moment. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what it is, but the engine noise here at Texas just isn't quite right. It's not very loud for crank it up, unfortunately.
It's just kind of the gear is really low in turn 1, so the best place to do it would be out of 4 through the tri-oval, but what's the point of having to crank it up if it's only going to be cool for, you know, a fifth of the track? And it's not just like that for this setup. It's like that for all Texas setups.
Wow. Oh, wow. Nearly contact there between Gainey and Faulkner. That could have been real bad. About 4 trucks would have been right behind him in the splash zone. And one of them would have been Caleb Bensey as we are looking 3 wide.
Oh, Matt Johnson into the wall. Hunter Engrave into the grass. Bensey's right here at the wrong time.
Bensey gets through on Gainey, but will now have to... Oh, boy.
Johnson right up on Faulkner. Don't forget, Engrave 3rd in the points here. Just outside of the top 10. Does not want to see this 29 go by. He needs to get moving himself after being involved in that opening caution.
He would love to latch on to that number 29 and oh wow, big wiggle. Now Johnson's gonna go underneath or 3 wide.
Engrave rolled out of it big time. I think he saw this 3 wide coming and didn't want any part of it. I can't say that I blame him. It's not over yet. Oaks up the track, Johnson up the track. Oh, Gainey just pounded the wall out of 4.
Now Bensey's right here. He's looking 3 wide here into turn 1.
Oh, Oaks rolls out of it. Oh boy, we're still 3 wide here. Bensey on the bottom, drifts up the track a little bit.
Very hairy situation. Faulkner's going to try to cover the bottom. I don't think he's clear.
Faulkner up the track. That's going to be trouble. Caution is out. Faulkner up the track just that much. And the contact with Matt Johnson, and we're under caution for the 2nd time.
Unfortunately for Cameron Faulkner, he went for a pretty long nose grind there along that outside wall.
Indeed.
Back it up here because all of this, I mean, we could back it up 3 laps if we really wanted to, but we'll just back it up to the backstretch here as they are working 3 wide. We were watching it all live as it happened. Faulkner was able to get around Johnston, but wasn't quite able to clear Bensey, and then he got tight there out of 4 in the middle and just drifted up ever so slightly. Right rear makes contact with Johnston and gets turned right into the wall. Actually want to back it up one more time here. I'd like to take a cockpit view here with Matt Johnston. Pit stops are underway. We'll get to that here in a second. Johnston stuck in the middle. Faulkner's going to cover him off in the middle, so he decides to go high here in 3 and 4. Doing a great job of holding it, and then just gets squeezed into the wall by the 7. Here we are. Some drivers out of the pits already. And that was just about perfect timing for that pit stop.
I was going to say we were not too far away from needing to come back to the pits anyways. Yes. So Gavin Sanders wins the race off of pit road. Mike Berry in second. TJ Crampton third. Tyler Pluff. Matt Schlosser, your top 5. Roland Holt 6th. Paul Ellison 7th. Caleb Bensey 8th. Hunter Engrave 9th. Jeff Oakes out in 10th. I don't believe anybody stayed out, which I don't know why they would. Had an issue with Kyle Zittel. He was gone for a whole lap under caution and then came back. So he says over the chat, I don't know what is going on. Which is never what you want to hear. Especially since he's been in the top 10 all night.
Yeah, pretty good run. I mean, he's just been hustling and battling all night.
Well, I think, unfortunately, the issue put him back in the scoring, so he's back in 20th now, if I'm not mistaken. But our second caution of the night here. As we're coming to lap 90, assuming we'll restart on lap 91. Well, lap 91, green flag restart here. Does that put us in the clear for the rest of the race?
100%. I was just looking at the lap counter here. I mean, we saw some of our drivers go over 50 laps on the first stint. We go green on lap 91. That gives us 43 laps to the end. Perfect last stint here. That's right when those tires are going to start getting, pretty slick, and you're going to start sliding around a little bit there in turns 1 and 2. So, yeah, it's the perfect last stint here to end this thing in Texas.
I don't know what's going on with people's rigs here tonight. TJ Crampton almost missed this race due to computer issues. Kyle Zittel having problems. Roland Holt just had a monitor disconnect and nearly caused the big one under caution. So, a lot happening here. Texas just must have that effect here today.
Well, if it's not tires blowing up in the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, it's everybody's rigs exploding.
Yep.
That is Texas.
Let's hope all of that is put behind us here and we can have a good old-fashioned shootout. Wild South Central style. Not really Southwest or West. Still in the Central time zone here. But a good old-fashioned Texas shoot 'em up. How about that?
I love it.
Gavin Sanders. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to mention some of our front riders here. Caleb Bensey is able to make it all the way to 8th here after pit stop, so look for him. He's going to have to push it a little bit harder than he'd like to here in the beginning probably, so may burn the tires up a little bit more than he was hoping, but has still made it up to 8th, and he's in a decent position here.
A pretty good comeback for him. Steve Roman is a lap down. I'm not sure what happened to the 00, but he's a lap down at 24th. It had been a pretty nice comeback for him up to that point. Gavin Sanders, one career victory. It came on a road course, but he has led a lot of laps on ovals and not been able to get the job done. Can tonight be the night? We are a little ways from finding out. Some work yet to do for driver number 10, everybody's favorite Canadian, leading the way here in Texas.
You can only say that because Jeremy McKinnon is no longer here.
That's actually a good point.
Oh, Benzie tried to look underneath a Pluff here, but Pluff said, no, not today, or at least not for right now. Benzie all the way up to 5th already on the restart here, I should say, on lap 91.
Oh,
man.
Ellison gets super loose, battling with Engrave, loses 2 positions, trying to catch that 55.
Pluff was all over the back of Mike Berry there through turns 3 and 4 as well. Nearly contact.
Bluff to the outside. This is for 3rd.
Seen the outside work early on in the runs, not so much in the later half. We'll have to see how it works out here for Pluff now.
Oh, we got trouble. Cameron Faulkner and Cody Claiborne. Boy, that 7 is having a rough go with things all of a sudden. Caution is back out.
Yeah, Faulkner jumped to the pits already. Claiborne working his way through the grass.
Well, Faulkner has been on both sides of that turn 4 exchange now. He drifted high to cause the last caution. That time he got drifted up into big time. Caution number 3 on lap 93.
And here's the replay. See Faulkner running this outside line. Claiborne gets into him, pushes him right up into the wall. And Veroma was starting to get there underneath the 31, but wasn't quite there. So Claiborne had a lot of room to work with when that happened. So even more front end damage here for the 7.
And he just called it a night.
Claiborne nearly came down the track and clipped somebody else. I couldn't quite see who it was. May have been Samard there. Everybody will stay out here. Only a few laps run on those tires. Would like to save them if in case a caution comes out here in the next 15 laps or so.
Steve Roman to get the lucky dog. Get back on the lead lap. Man, oh man.
You mentioned that I was a busy man. We've had some busy men on the track here tonight.
Yes.
Coming
yeah.
to you from the brand new Turn 200 studio in proper Nashville, Tennessee now.
Oh.
So not downtown or anything, but I do now have an actual Nashville, Tennessee address.
You telling me you're not in the middle of Nissan Stadium right now doing this broadcast?
I could only hope. If that were the case, I would have made it somewhere big.
There you go.
Instead,
I'd say it's pretty big.
In an even smaller room than I was in before.
That's all right. A pretty quick turnaround, all things considered. Appreciate you being here tonight. Appreciate all the folks that are out there in Turn 200 land watching as this one starts to wind down. Coming to a restart pretty close to lap 100 out of 133. They got a lot coming up here this week. Tomorrow night, the Venom Truck Series will be on for their season finale. 3 drivers eligible to win the championship. And it's going to get crazy tomorrow night at Virtual Charlotte. Wednesday night, it's going to be the craziest thing maybe that we've ever had on the channel, I think. A lot going on with the Daredevil Series on Wednesday night for the All-Star race. There'll be an All-Star Open. We're drawing for the Jacksonville Speedway 00 Challenge pot. We're revealing the Season 4 schedule. We are doing a random wheel spin for starting positions. And, oh, by the way, the drivers have voted to do a 4-wide standing start for the All-Star race itself. And this is at Gateway, by the way. I think we can barely manage 4-wide in that. So, gonna be interesting to see what is gonna happen on Wednesday night.
Yeah, and for those wondering why Gateway, go back and watch Season 2's points-paying race at Gateway. It was an absolute just insanity in the best way.
It was a great race. It was one that we had low expectations for, even as Illinois, Missouri boys ourselves. But it is one of the sleeper hits on Turn 200, in my opinion. It is a fantastic race. And then Thursday night, we're going road course racing again with the trucks, this time at Mid-Ohio with the Maximum Velocity Racing League. So another huge week here on Turn 200. And, oh, yeah, by the way, our first ever top split strength of field race broadcast ever. Our first ever official broadcast on the channel is for the Mission R Challenge, the Porsche Mission Rs on the channel Sunday at about 2 o'clock East or Central Time. And I believe that is from Watkins Glen, so no better way to kick it off.
Yeah, great track. Obviously super familiar with it from the stock car leagues that we've been broadcasting over the years. Also, cannot overstate what's on the line tomorrow night in the Venom Truck Series. 3 drivers still in it for the championship fight. It's going to be unbelievable.
Absolutely, and this could be a fight all the way down to the end here as well. Gavin Sanders wants the oval win. TJ Crampton wants to cut into the deficit. But Caleb Bency wants to get back to the lead of this race and extend his points lead. We're back underway. Lap number 98. Good start for Sanders. Crampton right back to Barry. Pluff, Schlosser, Engrave, and now the 29 of Caleb Bency back to 7th on the opening lap here. Back 2 spots. Big run here from Crampton. Not sure he's going to be able to go anywhere with it, but he pulls right back up.
Bency with the big head of steam there down the backstretch as well. He is underneath Engrave. Wow, they nearly came together. Finally is able to clear the 56. 57 of Crampton all over Sanders, and look out for Mike Berry. Berry has been very, very fast here in the short run. Look for him to be aggressive, as well as Matt Schlosser. Thought about trying the inside of Pluff. Wasn't quite able to put the truck there. And now looks to the outside to gain a little momentum. Top 6, actually really top 7, all still in line here.
Everybody wants to make a move, but nobody wants to make the move.
Well, it's really difficult on the fresher tires here. We've only run maybe 6 to 7 laps on these tires so far, and a big break in between to let them cool down.
It almost feels vindictive to be able to make a pass at this point in the run, because you would think if you get past the person, they're going to get trapped on the top side and lose 2 or 3 more spots on top of that. You just want the one. You don't want them to go plummeted all the way to the back of the field.
Well, I mean, if you can get yourself a bit of a gap behind you, that's never a bad thing. It doesn't matter who it is, I don't think. So, but it could be a bit of these drivers kind of settling in, trying to make sure that they save a little bit of tire for the end of this run when they really, really need to start making their moves. So a bit of cat and mouse, a little chess match going on right now here in the top 10. I don't think anybody's really in the position where they're trying to make a pass.
It'll be 30 laps to go at the line. Everybody up front should be good on fuel. Like you said, the question is, who can manage their tires as Pluff is into the wall? Schlosser gets by, move Pluff back to 5th. Hopefully the right side damage is not too bad on the 39.
Yeah, I mean, a great recovery so far. Usually you see that in at least a couple of spots are lost, but Pluff's right back at it on the bumper of Schlosser, maybe trying to make a move on the outside here. Right
side doors a little bit sturdier than they used to be, thanks to the new damage model a few months ago. But they can't take too many lickings like that and keep on ticking. Really, it's the top 9 that are sort of latched on here. Dakota DeMay trying to close up in 10th. But Sanders, Crampton, Berry, Schlosser, Pluff, the top 5, Bensey, Engrave, Holt, and Oaks, the top 9. DeMay in 10th. DeMay trying to pull away from Paul Ellison and others behind him.
Big
as
run
here's
for
Pluff. A truck length deeper into 1 opens the door for the 39. The work is not over just yet as Bensey wants to keep the door open and get underneath Schlosser as well.
Yeah, Bensey knows that the outside line is tough to run through turns 3 and 4 after about 10 laps. And he takes advantage of Pluff.
And now, underneath Pluff. It's like Martinsville at 170 miles an hour. Get them rooted off the bottom, and they are going backwards.
Yeah, Bensey, nice little 2-for-1 there. It all started staying right on the bumper of the 39 there into turn 3, 1 lap ago. Now Schlosser looking to fight back and trap Pluff on the top side. He's not quite able to get there. Meanwhile, Sanders still leads this thing. He's got Crampton right behind him. Barry, a couple truck lengths off the back of the 57 as well. And then Bensey, Pluff, and Schlosser are all coming to the 28 of Barry. Or trying to anyways.
Yeah, when Pluff was behind Barry, they were losing time, but Bensey is on the attack already and might pull everybody up with him.
Engrave has attached himself to this group as well. We mentioned him a little bit earlier, needing to have a good run. He is right there in the top 3 in points as well.
Yes, this night could have been very bad for Hunter Engrave, considering he was involved in an accident not even 10 laps into this race. So a great recovery thus far for the 56. Steve Verhoeven got the lucky dog last time by. He's up a few positions now as well, into 20th.
Now here goes Engrave on the bottom.
Working up the track. Schlosser on the outside.
Schlosser trying to cover the bottom, barely gets there.
Engrave rolls out of it, not to cause a problem there. I should have known. I don't know if he really would have caused the problem there. There would have been a problem.
Most certainly.
At some point, it doesn't matter who started it. It matters who's in it. So Bensey back to 4th, closing in on Mike Barry. But catching this group is one thing. Getting back to the lead is going to be a whole nother thing entirely, especially as the laps continue to tick away here. 21 to go.
Dakota DeMay, Paul Ellison, they get around on Holt. That moves both of them into the top 10. Still holding our breath up front here. Been holding it for about the last 20 laps. Looks like Schlosser's in the wall there off of 2. Engrave will look to the bottom. He's already clear.
Jeff Oakes now on the attack on the 400. That'll be for spot number 7 if he can get a run and get around the 400.
Schlosser had to chase that thing big time. Now Oakes trying to get that position underneath, and we know what'll happen in 3 and 4 if he does. He's right there.
Ellison underneath of Dakota DeMade to try and move up to 9th as well.
DeMade actually fighting back pretty good on the outside there.
Been a quiet night for the demigod. But this certainly will make a lot of noise if he's able to fend off the 55 on the outside.
Yeah.
And does.
And he does. He fights off Ellison. That is unbelievable.
Great work.
Oh, Bensy. Bensy's around Barry. We missed it.
It happened just like that. Bensy lying in wait will move around the 28, move himself back onto the podium. It looked so dire in the middle of this race. But Bensy right back. His worst finish this season is 3rd. And it's tracking to continue to be that way at least. We'll have to see what TJ Crampton's going to do here with the points leader right on his back bumper.
There's the replay of Bensy getting around Barry. We've seen it time and time again. We know how to pass here after watching the race tonight. He got the positioning in turns 1 and 2, got himself on the bottom there on the back stretch, and Barry really didn't have a shot there on the top side.
Bensy sizing up TJ Crampton. May not get a go at him this time, but he is closing right up to the driver he has battled for 2 race victories with this season. One time Crampton came out on top. The other time it was Bensy's first career victory. Of course, Bensy had to absolutely fight tooth and nail for the win last week at Daytona Road Course with Gavin Sanders, the current race leader. And we may be in for more of the same here if Bensy can dispose of the 57 for 2nd.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Crampton and Sanders here, seems like an easy task. Run the bottom. Don't let them on the inside. Obviously, a lot easier said than done. But, I mean, if they're going to get underneath you, make them move you. And there you see Crampton. He enters a little bit higher and allows Bensy to get underneath. Now, Crampton does have a run, but Bensy also with the run, nearly contact.
Wow.
Crampton's chasing it all the way down.
Contact. Crampton does not want Bensy to go through. That tells you how serious this 57 is. Bensy may come back with a different game plan this time.
Well, we just talked about it. I was surprised Crampton took such a wide entry there into 1. I mean, if there's one thing you don't want to do, you don't want to let him on the inside.
Maybe expecting that run off the top side, but Bensy still had more momentum last time out of 2. But all bets are off. Again, this isn't the normal NASCAR point system here. This pass for position is worth 15 points. And Crampton will have gained halfway bonus points on Caleb Bency as well, because Bency was outside of the top 10 at halfway. I mean, these points aren't nothing.
No, not at all. And now we see Bency. He's having to regroup here. He's falling back. He fell back about 4 truck lengths from Crampton and is now having to mount the comeback.
And what that skirmish may have done is taken Bency out of contention for the win. As it's 11 laps to go, race leader is about 9/10 of a second ahead of TJ Crampton. And Bency will have to get back around the 57. But Bency, this entire season, has had the best long run speed out of anybody.
Yeah, Bency also may be thinking that, he's got a pretty good points lead. Obviously, it's going to be knocked down a little bit here, but maybe thinking that wrecking here is just not worth it. Maybe content to sit behind here unless he has a golden opportunity. I mean, think about it. If Crampton and Bency wreck right there, Engrave is... I mean, he's
closer.
Not right there, but he's a lot closer.
Yeah, Engrave almost a race and a half out right now. Crampton 3/4 of a race out. This will get him to about half a race if this can stay the way it is right now. So it's important here tonight. Crampton's showing it. As how about Jeff Oakes pulling up on Tyler Pluff right now to try and move himself into the top 5.
Yeah, Oakes has been fast all night here.
Really, he's been pretty sporty on most of the ovals this season. Has just been caught up in accidents. Remember, he was running 7th on the final lap at Homestead before he and Kyle Zittel had netcode contact. It took him all the way outside of the top 20. So he's had some poor hands dealt his way, but he is executing here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's been running in the top 10, I think, like you said.
Pretty much all night.
Yeah, well, almost every oval race he's been in the top 10 for at least a good portion of the race.
Got his best finish, ironically enough, last week at the Daytona Road Course, finished 12th, but on track to do much better than that here tonight. It's 1 second from Sanders back to Crampton, and 1 truck length from Crampton back to Bency.
Not even sure it's a truck length.
Nope, not anymore. Bency is closing. And so are the laps.
I'm really interested to see how Bency tries to get around Crampton here. If he just tries to force him into a mistake, if he tries to kind of force his way in there, he looks low.
We'll find out. Crampton again taking turn 1 entry wide. This time I think is going to get the desired effect that he was going for the first time. Opens the door for Bency. Bency overdrives it a little bit, and Crampton able to drive away with a little momentum from the middle. But can he do that 4 more times without Bency getting there?
Well, we're getting into a weird spot here in the run where the lap times are going to start falling off quickly. Actually, really already have.
Yes. Oh!
That last lap for Crampton and Bency was almost 32 seconds, which is about a second and a half of fall off. Bency, huge run
There we
here.
go. Getting it into 3 here is going to be big. Oh! Track the clutch! Crampton still trying to save it, and he will. An incredible save. I'm not sure TJ is going to appreciate that. I'm not sure it was nefarious. They were both going for the same real estate there. Oh, and a bump there. Bency going to go up the track. I think he's going to hold on to it, though. Wow.
Yeah, Crampton went for the bump and run. I thought we would try to see it from Bensy, but Bensy just drifted up the track a little bit. Crampton was trying to pinch him down to keep him from getting that run there on the bottom.
And all this is letting Gavin Sanders walk away with it. 2 laps to go.
Big
Something
run from
tells me
Crampton here.
We're not done here. Bensy leaves the bottom open. Crampton underneath. Side by side for second. Crampton sticking it right to the white line here. Sanders to the line, white flag.
Bensy does a great job of not letting Crampton get clear, but I don't think he's going to have much of a choice down here into turns 1 and 2. Maybe he's going to go for the crossover.
Rolls out of it way early, looking for a big run. I think Crampton may have him.
Yeah, I think Bensy just slowed down a little bit too early there.
As the points leaders continue to battle away in turns 3 and 4, it is a long-awaited oval victory for Gavin Sanders, and it comes here at Texas Motor Speedway. TJ Crampton holds off Caleb Bensy for second in a spirited battle amongst the points leaders. Mike Berry and Tyler Bluff going to round out your top 5.
And we mentioned Jeff Oakes. He comes away in 6th.
All righty.
As he mentioned, doubles his career best so far. Heck of a run there from the 5. And
Gavin
heck
Sanders.
of a run from Gavin Sanders.
Incredible. I mean, the dominant driver last week, but Caleb Bensy with his long run speed tracked him down and made the pass a couple of different times in the closing 5 laps of the race. Tonight is Gavin Sanders' night here at Texas Motor Speedway. Career victory number 2, his first of the season. Burn him down, partner. You're in No Limits, Texas.
Wow, big time celebration there from Gavin Sanders. Well deserved.
And we'll get to your full finishing rundown here as the celebration concludes. Gavin Sanders, big night for him. 2nd career victory. TJ Crampton, 3rd career podium. Caleb Bensy yet to finish off the podium this season. A spirited battle between the 2nd and 3rd place drivers. We'll talk to all 3 of them momentarily. Mike Berry, another 4th place finish for him. It's the 2nd of the season. Tyler Pluff with his first top 5 of his career. Well done for him, especially after pounding the wall there late in the race. Jeff Oakes, best career finish for him here tonight. Outstanding run for the Mopa Motorsports driver to come away P6. Hunter Ingrave then will finish in 7th. Paul Ellison in 8th. The demigod Dakota DeMade in 9th. And Kyle Zittel overcomes the hardware issues or software, I don't know, whatever it is. He finishes in the top 10, keeps his streak going. Roland Holt will finish down in the 11th. Darrell Klotz, another solid run for him. He finishes in 12th. Zachary Flaum will finish in 13th. J.J. Wang, 14th. Alan Phillips in 15th. Steve Roman, pretty good comeback, all things considered, in 16th. Not the night that Ryan Dye was looking for. He finishes down in 17th. Matt Schlosser, after being in the top 10 all race long, finishes down in 18th. Brantley Gainey pounded the wall late in the race as well. He finishes 19th. Troy Thomas, quiet night for him. He finishes 20th. Not a quiet night for Matt Johnson. He finishes 21st. Pascal Simard then last truck on the lead lap at 22nd. Jeff Smith in 23rd, 1 lap down. 2 laps down in 24th is Dave Payton. Cody Claiborne in 25th. Cameron Faulkner, DNF, in 26th. And Jeremy McKinnon, DNF, in 27th. We will talk now to your 3rd place finisher. Driver number 29, Caleb Bensy. He's on full mute here. There we go. Caleb Bensy, 3rd place finisher. Welcome back to the booth, partner. A bit confused as to how you got so deep in the field, but it was a great recovery nonetheless.
Yeah, the very first yellow, just maybe was thinking it'd be interesting fuel strategy to pit early and didn't check or uncheck the tires and never checked them back.
Oh.
So I basically had 2 pit stops worth of time there on pit road. So yeah, so that was a bit frustrating 'cause I feel like I had the pace, but and then yeah, from there I was just kind of working my way back. Was able to get back to top 10 right before that yellow came out. So uh, and yeah, and then from there I was just trying to gain spots when I could. I gained quite a bit on the second to last restart, and then the last restart, I, of course, missed a shift. So that made my job a little harder in the last stint, and yeah, and then just try to work my way up from there.
I mean, when you're trying to blast your way up through the field and the field is kind of racing as crazy as they are, is that pretty nerve-wracking?
Yeah, a little bit. Like come up to that one big group, um, like I feel like I'd saved my tires a lot better at that point, and I can't go anywhere. Like it's just there's cars everywhere, people everywhere, and no one's really getting clear of anyone. It's just kind of like locked 2x2 or whatever. So yeah, it was a little bit frustrating. I think made a couple moves that would have got me clear, and I think they wrecked my outside, not knowing it was 3 wide. But yeah, definitely more scary than the earlier view. But
Matt, what do you got for Caleb?
That's on the P3. Yeah, I mean, hard fought to get back to this third place finish here. But we would be remiss if we didn't talk about those last few laps there, the battle with TJ Crampton. Wow, what a battle. Did you dive in a little bit harder than you were wanting to there and just got into him?
yeah, that was a little bit of. I mean, he double blocked me very, very hard on the backstretch. Had to lift out of it twice, so wasn't too happy about that. In retrospect, I probably should have sent it into 3 a little harder the first time, but and then yeah, that was kind of part of that. And then he proceeded to come in, and I tried to overshoot because I knew, and he just completely sent it in. And I mean, I was full on the brakes, and he wasn't even close going to make the corner. So that was kind of frustrating. I think it crinkled up my rear a little bit too because it was pretty decent contact. But yeah, so that was kind of frustrating. But I mean, they still got a podium.
Absolutely. It was great recovery for you here tonight, partner. You yet to finish off the podium this season. So outstanding work. Anybody you want to thank or shout out here tonight?
Yeah, as always, race first, Amigos Tequila, Boston Road Flowers. Yeah, I know some family and friends are watching as always. So shout out to you guys. And yeah, like you said, didn't really realize it's been podium every race. So that's pretty cool, I guess. But yeah, I feel like definitely could have gotten a lot more out tonight. So it's a little frustrating. But yeah, congrats to Gavin, though, putting it all together. And yeah, all things considered, not too bad.
There you go. P3 finish for Caleb Benson here tonight. Congrats, partner, and we'll talk to you again here soon.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I was trying to drag him out, and he moved out anyway. All right, so we'll bring up your second place finisher then. Back on the podium. It's been a couple of weeks away, but solid run here tonight for TJ Crampton. Welcome back to Booth 200, partner. A wild finish to the race. We'll get to that in a minute, but I mean, your nights, you were pretty consistently glued right there, 3rd to 5th all night long.
Yeah, had a solid truck. Did a little bit of a weird strategy during the first pit stop. Tried to stay out as long as I could because felt like I saved my right front pretty good and was just still doing 30 zeros and 29 nines and was still having good pace. So I wanted to run as long as I could and lead a lap to get that extra bonus point or bonus points or whatever. And did that. Pitted, came back at like a 17th or something, so had to work through a bunch of drivers, but got through cleanly and didn't really want that caution, but at the same time, it kind of helped me. So kind of an okay moment right there, but glad it worked out and good battle there and got a 2nd place finish.
Matt, what do you got?
Well, I think we got to talk about that battle there at the end. Heck of a battle there with Caleb Benson. Were you expecting him to get to your inside there the initial time he got to the inside there in turns 1 and 2, or did it kind of take you by surprise a little bit?
To be fair, I thought he was too far back, and I didn't. By the time I knew he was there, I was already turning in. So that took me by surprise, and that wasn't really a block. That was just me not really knowing that he sent it in there. But the one down the backstretch, that was definitely, I wouldn't call it a double block. I would call it, that was just a normal block. And if you want us to take it personally, he can. But I'm here to race and race hard.
It was certainly hard racing, that's for sure. I didn't have a problem with it, but I'm not driving. It was a fantastic battle to watch, though, and I mean, hardly anybody has been able to hold off Caleb Bensley at all this season, and you've done it twice now, Homestead and here. Anybody you want to shout out or thank here tonight after a hard-fought P2?
Yeah, I want to thank James at Team Watson Racing and Team Watson Racing Setups, NRN, Extreme Mufflers, Champs Speed Shop, and everyone watching, and you guys for broadcasting. And I just want to say shout out to all the first responders as well on 9/11.
Absolutely. Thinking of everybody and their families here tonight. And congrats on the P2 here tonight. And it was a fantastic one to watch. So keep up the good work. We'll be talking to you again soon.
Thank you.
And it's been too long since we've had this gentleman up in Booth 200 as a race winner. It is finally Gavin Sanders' time to be back on top with the gold medal. Welcome back to Booth 200. Welcome back to Victory Lane.
Finally, right? Feels good to do it in a truck for once.
I mean, you were so close last week on the road courses, but we know you're good on the road courses. I mean, you've had quite a few really good runs on the ovals that have just gone not your way at the end of them for whatever reason. So got to be nice to be able to set sail and watch the battle in your rear view as you just cruise along.
Yeah, no, I think we did a really good job, or at least it felt tough in the opening stint to kind of control the tire wear, and you really wanted to sort of burn off the right rear before the right front as much as you could. So just slow in, fast out, as they say. But obviously these trucks do get some dirty air, so it made it a little bit tricky in the first stint. But once we were able to kind of break away and build on a lead, the tire wear just felt consistent with what it was, but the truck just felt a lot easier to maneuver, and that it was definitely pretty satisfying to watch the gap just build, and not have to worry about it for once, and and get schooled by these guys who have way more NASCAR truck and everything else experience than I do.
You were in control for a couple of restarts as well, and I mean, both times you got really good jumps on the field. I mean, what did it take to get the jump as much as you did on everybody?
First gear. That's a very unnatural thing, and it was unnerving whenever he kind of fired off, got a quick yellow after he strapped on new tires, and then had to go do it again. But I think the majority of the field was using that, so it kind of kept it a little bit even. And whoever, I mean, it's easier to do it when you're the leader and you're in control and not reacting. So that definitely helped quite a bit. And again, sort of setting sail and not letting the draft through like the first 10-15 laps of the stint really be an issue was definitely important tonight.
Matt, what do you got?
Well, first of all, congratulations on the finish last week as well. I wasn't here, and I very much enjoyed the battle that you and Caleb had, so congrats on that. But, man, what a run here tonight. As you were coming into that last restart, everybody was kind of sitting and waiting. Was it just difficult to pass on fresher tires, and then nobody just really got to you? Or what do you think did it there for you right at the end?
I think we were all just kind of driving to the maximum, and as much as the dirty air does affect you later on in the stint, like you won't realize it right from the get-go, how much it's actually wearing. But after that 15-20 lap stage on the tires, it really kicks in. So it was basically just running as hard as I could until that window, and then once it breaks off from 2/10, and then kind of they were able to draft back to you through 3 and 4. It makes it a lot easier. So it seemed like that on the first run as well. Like everybody was kind of just all packed up in a line, and we were all questioning if people were tire saving or what was going on. But I think just the amount of checkups are what kind of builds the gap in that opening part.
It's fantastic work to get the job done here tonight. It's awesome to have you back up here as a race winner. I know you got people you want to shout out and thank here tonight.
Yeah, definitely want to give a big thank you to Team Raceverse, Sunset Arctic Games, buy Echo Blade on Steam. That's the name of our team. Just do it. That's all you need to know. But yeah, big shout out to you guys as well for putting on an awesome broadcast. And yeah, it's just really special to be able to finally have a little bit of success in something that's a bit different.
Absolutely. First win in the Oval, second of your career. Hope to see you back here more and more as the season rolls along. I know we'll be talking to you if that's the case, but go party hard here tonight on the win.
Oh, yeah, you got it. Thanks, guys.
All righty. Feels good to get Gavin Sanders back up here as a race winner. A little bit of contention there between Crampton and Bensey, but, they're battling for the championship. They're battling hard on the track. You wouldn't expect anything less from two purebred sim racers here.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was certainly entertaining for us to watch here in the booth, and I'm sure for everybody that was watching at home, we're kind of rewatching a little bit of the replay here, but yeah, we love the fire, love the tenacity from the drivers here in Truck 200. I mean, that's what we tune in for, right? We tune in to see racers go at it, and excited to see what the rest of the season is going to bring to us here. And don't miss tomorrow night, the Venom Truck Series. That's the conclusion of the championship, and 3 drivers still very much in the hunt. Sorry if I took your thunder, Tommy,
Nope.
but I just cannot overstate how great that's going to be.
No, I mean, I could say it again, too. I think you should be here tomorrow night for the Venom Truck Series because the top 3 drivers in the point standings have a chance at the championship. I mean, when does that happen? Especially in sim racing. It almost never happens.
Often. No, not often
No.
at all.
Especially naturally. This isn't a playoff sort of situation. This happened naturally. These 3 drivers have been absolutely going at it all season long. Nathan Reynolds, John Kay, Andy Poliski. If you notice, they all took the night off tonight. They're all gearing up for tomorrow. They're taking it serious. And it's a track that all 3 of them could win at, Charlotte Motor Speedway. So, I mean, tomorrow night is going to be an absolute hoot and a half. Wednesday, if tomorrow night is a hoot and a half, Wednesday night's going to be about 3 3/4 hoots, I think. It's going to be a wild one on Wednesday night for the Daredevil Series All-Star Race at Gateway. Then Thursday night, you definitely want to be here for the Trucks at Mid-Ohio for the Maximum Velocity Racing League. That is going to be a good one. And, of course, the Porsche Mission R Challenge, the Top Split official race broadcast for the first ever all-electric car on iRacing on Sunday from Watkins Glen, the Cup Series layout. That is what we got coming up this week. It is a lot, and it's a lot of good stuff, too. So if you would be so kind to scroll down and hit subscribe on your way out to the stream here tonight, we would greatly appreciate it. Also want to thank TJ Crampton for mentioning the victims of 9/11 and their families here. We're thinking about them as we close out tonight's broadcast on this horrific day, 22 years on. Never forget what went down on 9/11/2001. So thinking of everybody that may have been affected. But that is how we're going to sign things off here tonight. Hope to see you back here tomorrow night for the Venom Truck Series. Hope to see you back here next Monday night as well for Truck 200. Round number 6 of 12 on season number 2. The halfway mark of the season is at North Wilkesboro. Oh, boy. That'll be a good one. So hope to see you back here next Monday night. Hope to see you a lot in between now and then. But for everybody here with Truck 200 and Turn 200, for the GOAT, Mr. Matt Williamson, I'm Tommy Cook. Until we meet again, we say so long from virtual No Limits Texas Motor Speedway, where Gavin Sanders is finally an oval winner.